temporal bone imaging. Now, what does it do? It delineates the fracture. Important is assess the complications. If you need an urgent management and also prognosticate what is going to happen with the patient. Now, there are a number of classification of temporal bone trauma. Ulrich is what we started using. Longitudinal, transverse and mixed. This is by Brody. Violating. Otic violating means it is inner ear bony labyrinth is involved, fractured, or otic sparing. These are the two that we follow. Now, this is a volume rendered image of looking inside the cranium, and this is the triangular pyramidal shape superior wall of the temporal bone, the petrous bone, and you will see longitudinal fracture is along the long axis of the petrous bone for you to understand. So, for example, this is an axial image. This is the longitudinal fracture going from the lateral wall of the mastoid toward the middle ear. And then we lose it because there is air. And now this is opacification instead of air. This is the hemotympanum. So this is a figure of 8, which is opacification of the epitympanum and part. There is some fluid level. And this is hemomastoidium, hemotympanum with a fracture line. And now you have to trace the fracture line, whether trace it superiorly, medially, to see whether the fracture line is involving the facial nerve or not. Okay, I'm not showing it to you right now. I have stack of images. Now, this is what I've drawn. A triangle, this longitudinal fracture, which is the otic sparing, means what? The bony labyrinth is not involved. Like this fracture line. And remember, this longitudinal fracture is not very well appreciated on corneal image. It is best appreciated on axial, and you can go and see the sagittal image. Now, what has happened to this patient? Unfortunately, this patient has bilateral longitudinal fracture. So, whenever you have these 3 odd number area now, right? Odd number of ossicles, think of ossicular disruption. And then you trace it up and down, and you will see what disruption. It is the incudiomalleolar or the malleus, the incus with the stapes, or there is fracture also. Correct? Now, what is the difference between this and this? There is more hemotympanum and hemomastoidium compared to this opposite side. Okay, so longitudinal fracture with ossicular chain disruption. The line of force is from lateral to medial, and between otic sparing and otic violating, or between longitudinal and transverse fractures. Longitudinal is common, accounts for, comprises of 70% of the fracture line. Now let's go on to the stack of images. You're going from down up. This is mastoid air cells. Now look, it is opacified. Now the opacification of mastoid air cells can be because of mastoiditis, or it can be because of hemomastoidium. So history is very, very important. At this stage, you're not even seeing the fracture line. So there is opacification of the mastoid air cells. Now we are going up. Tympanic membrane. This is a hypotympanum. Now we are still going up. Here you see the thin air line fracture. And you know this is not mastoiditis, but this is a trauma case. And you have to extrapolate the line. You will see that the fracture line is possibly involving also the genu, more near the tympanic segment of the facial nerve. Correct? This is the fracture. This is the fracture. Okay, so longitudinal fracture, which is otic sparing without any bone ossicular chain disruption, but the fracture line is involving the genu. Hemomastoidium rather than hemotympanum. See, there is hardly any hemotympanum. Some blood is around the parallel lines. Okay, so you go, and of course, the fracture line is also involving the squamous part of the temporal. And now we go to another patient. We have opacification of the mastoid air cells on the left side. We don't know what it is as yet. Wait, let's see what is happening. Oh, there is a fracture line. Correct? So this is again a longitudinal fracture with no involvement of the facial nerve or any bony or any ossicular chain erosion. Okay, again, normal variant of pneumatized petrous apex. Now let's go on to transverse fracture. So you saw longitudinal fracture going like this, transverse is cutting down like this. So now this is an otic violating fracture, accounts to 10 to 30%. Now if 70% is longitudinal and 10 to 30% is only transverse, what is the middle part? That is a mixed fracture. Okay, both longitudinal and transverse. So now fracture line here is involving the basal turn of the cochlea. See here, the fracture line here is involving part of the lateral semicircular canal, and there is air in the vestibule. So pneumolabyrinth, because we are calling this as bony labyrinth. So this is the fracture, the transverse fracture. Now what is this? This is a mixed fracture. This is a fracture longitudinal. This is hemotympanum, hemomastoideum. And there is another fracture line which is involving the cochlea. But in this patient, there is no pneumolabyrinth. No air is seen within the bony labyrinth. Now, this patient has a longitudinal and a transverse fracture, both. So this is a mixed type of fracture. This is kind of a figure of 8. You are not seeing the cone. That means head of the malleus. Where is the incus? So it is possibly displaced, fractured and displaced inferiorly. There is incudo-malleolar disruption. There is hemotympanum. There is air in the vestibule. And this fracture line is at a junction of the vestibule and the lateral semicircular canal. Okay. So there is a otic violating fracture, a mixed type of fracture, longitudinal and transverse. So both components are there. Just to show you again, all the pneumolabyrinth and these are the axial image, these are the coronal image. This shows that the fracture line is involving the tegmentum tympani, and we are losing all the anatomy of the incus. You are seeing the head of the malleus, but you are not really appreciating the incus. So now you have identified longitudinal and transverse fracture. Let's go on to the complication. So if the fracture line involves the tegmentum tympani, there are chances of CSF autoria. Now, if the tegmentum tympani is fractured, tympanic membrane is intact, then the source of CSF coming out is through the eustachian tube, and the patient will get CSF rhinorrhea. So CSF autoria or rhinorrhea, then you get ossicular chain disruption. In fractures, you get conductive hearing loss. Then you can get fracture line involving the genu or the tympanic segment of the facial canal. Then the complication of transverse fracture. So it involves the bony labyrinth, and you'll get cochlear involvement. You will get vestibular and superior semicircular canal involvement. The membranous labyrinth, because the fracture is involving that, and you get labyrinthine fistula, pneumolabyrinth, and also don't forget the labyrinthine facial nerve paralysis.